What can you say as a kid but can't as an adult? I had a nightmare. Can I sleep with you? I'd find that one acceptable from an adult family member or close friend. Sure stepsis, let's snuggle up safely. I'm going to marry my mommy when I'm big. Sigmund Freud has entered the chat. Hey, who wants to see my penis? My 3.5-year-old actually did this the other day in daycare. And then proceeded to flash the entire class. Certainly not my proudest moment as a parent. I had this happen to me in first grade by my classmate that really wanted to show someone his pee-pee. We were all on the big colorful rug while the teacher read us a book. Didn't cross my mind that that was weird. As a kid, I believed all people with turbans were genies. I had asked several unsuspecting Indian men if they could grant my wishes. But maybe it wasn't okay then either. ... Did any of them humor you for at least a bit? Yes actually. One time a guy listened to all 3 of my wishes and I'll never forget how ecstatic I was that day. Still waiting on that $1 million. I'm sure he'll pull through. Remember, I was a child. The first time I saw a black man, apparently I tugged on my mom's shirt and said, "Look mom. A chocolate man." He was really nice about it and let me touch him, so I knew he wasn't actually made of chocolate, unfortunately. When I was about 5 or 6, going to my first NBA game, we stopped at a Walmart on the way to the stadium. I guess I was asking just about every black person if they were Michael Jordan. At work a few weeks ago, a kid about 9 came in and went straight up to my black coworker and said, "Hi, my name is James. I'm sorry that Chadwick Boseman died." As a child I was taught Santa wasn't real. Of course, I spread this information throughout the community and caused a lot of issues during the holidays for a few years, unable to contain this powerful knowledge. Can't say it as an adult though. The unfiltered truth. Yep, just this morning I got, "Mama, your mustache is softer than Daddy's. But, your tummies have twin softness." Indeed, those are true facts. As a kid, I went up to a man who had piercings all over his face and asked, "What happened to your face?" My mom and dad dragged me out of there. Years ago, my son is a toddler in a big pirate phase. Walking through the store, see a man with an eye patch coming our way. Pull my son into whatever aisle we're walking next to. I wasn't going to see that one through. Going up to a fat person and saying, "Are you pregnant?" No, I just eat a lot. My favorite snack is small children who ask me if I'm pregnant. For what it's worth, I am male and the baby bulge is barely visible, so I'm unlikely to get to use this anytime soon, which may be for the best. You are not the boss of me. As an adult, chances are that the person you want to scream that at is in fact the boss of you. Real loud in a crowded church. "Look mama, you can see that lady's panties right through her dress." Also announcing to a crowded church I went poop in the potty all by myself. The priest already knows. Personal story of mine. My parents taught me colors with the trash cans and I loved going around saying gray trash, blue trash, etc. Well, one night we stopped at a hotel and in the lobby corner there was a black trash can with a black man throwing something away. Lil me got excited, pointed over there, and loudly exclaimed, "Look daddy. Black trash." The guy either didn't hear or shrugged it off as innocence, but to this day that is the most nervous my dad has been about getting beat up. Edit. Thank you so much for the silvers, kind strangers. Before this my record amount of upvotes was in the 300s. My eldest daughter, when she was 3, or close to it, shouted nipples. I think my wife had forgotten her bra or someone else in the store did. My wife said, "Shh, you shouldn't say that out loud." Daughter leaned forward and whispered, "Nipples." To clarify, if our kids ask what a body part is, we just tell them. We don't do the whole baby talk stuff. So they're all pretty self-aware. Update. Wow, my first award. First time getting over 200 upvotes. My kids still say some hilarious stuff. This particular incident just seemed to fit the theme of this thread. Thanks, everyone. When my son was 2, I took him into Costco. In the diaper bag I had a baggie of cashews. I handed him the bag and said sit down and eat your nuts. Instead he stood up screaming eat my nuts with the baggie raised above his head. Shouting from bathroom, someone come wipe me, I'm done. Worst part of my day is when I hear the dreaded your turn. And this, ladies and gentlemen and non-binary cuties, is why I don't want kids. As a young kid, my cousin went up to some random young woman wearing a crop top and put his finger in her belly button. Definitely can't do that as an adult, lol. I facepalm so hard looking back when I mispronounced marinara sauce as marijuana sauce. Edit. On a additional note, it was at that time I released size why people would do a double take with the WTF this kid say face when I was at Arby's or Long John Silver's getting more sauce for my cheese sticks. Well, I guess your pronunciation skills weren't that high. Oof, you smoked me with that one, but I did set myself up for it. Why can a toddler say, "Mommy, my pee-pee got a boo-boo, kiss it," but when I say it I'm a sex offender? Why can mommy birds regurgitate food for their babies, but when I do it I lose custody? I don't know, man. Our court system is stupid. Dung beetles roll around fesses in a large ball, but if I do it I get kicked out of the school and lose my job as a plumber. I've been trying to convince my little sister to, once the pandemic is over, go knock on the neighbor's door and ask to see their new puppy. 12 years old is probably pushing it, but a 21-year-old stranger randomly knocking on your door and asking to see your dog is even weirder, in my opinion. Let me see the dog, Jan. Somebody come wipe me. My little brother would scream this from the toilet when he finished pooping as a toddler. Growing up, I met a man in a wheelchair at a cafe. After a period of sitting and staring at him, much to the embarrassment of my mum, I approached him and asked what happened to him. The man very kindly and patiently explained to 4-year-old me that he hadn't been paying attention crossing the road and that a car had hit him. To which I replied, "Well, you'll know to pay attention next time." He seemed to find it quite funny. Mama, look. I'm putting my penis on him. Mom. Okay, let's keep our penises to ourselves. This was a conversation from a mother and her son when I went with my mom to one of the houses she cleans. I once told a man I saw in an elevator that I liked his tattoos. A few years later my mother told me that the type of tattoos she remembered the man having meant that he was probably a triad member. I'm from Hong Kong, so I like to think that my compliment may have made a hardened gang member's day a little bit brighter. This bitch gonna die. We would play paintball every month. I was for living with my dad, and when I saw someone I would always say in front of the people I was with, "This bitch gon' die." I didn't get in trouble then, but now people would arrest me. When my son was maybe 3, we went to Target. There was a woman who worked there who had a huge port wine stain covering one side of her face. My son saw her one day and yelled, "Mommy, why does her face look like that?" while pointing at her. Great. Thanks, kid. My sister is an artist and she was inspired by an Instagram post to make a sculpture of boobs. She left the boob sculpture in the living room. During a Zoom meeting recently, my little brother had a school activity where they needed to show an object that started with the letter blank. His teacher mentioned the letter B and my brother decided to pick up the statue, show it to the class, and say out loud, "Boobs," shaking my head. Kids give no fucks about social acceptability when it comes to talking about genitals. When my son was 4 or 5 we took him to the JFK Library Museum to see the Apollo capsule. As we were walking by the memorial rooms it got super quiet. My wife and I were looking at some Japanese armor and my son was a bit down the hall with his grandmother. In absolute solemn quiet I hear my son yell, "But gam, my penis is stuck to my testicles." Mother-in-law is mortified. Wife is concerned and I'm red in the face from trying not to burst out laughing. I was a teaching assistant at a summer school with a ton of 3rd graders. There was this really quiet kid who rarely spoke, and when he did, it was usually inaudible. I noticed he was struggling with his classwork, so I started to point out ways he could improve. He says something inaudible. I lean in and ask him to repeat. 4 words, "I will destroy you."